Please allow me to introduce our next speakers. They're coming from Dell Technologies and from Dell Technologies. We salute again Mr. Paul Brook, EMEA Director, Data Analytics and AI, and Mrs. Taya Doroshina, Oracle System Engineer from Dell Technologies. Paul and Taya, please be welcome. Paul, welcome again. Taya, please be welcome to CIO Council. We are very happy to have you here. What did you prepare for us?
Well, we're going to walk you through stuff we've learned from the fantastic partners and customers of Dell Technologies. So it's such a pleasure to be back, and it's an absolute pleasure to reintroduce Taya Doroshina, who will kick off this short 25-minute introduction. Taya.
Thank you.
Thank you. So what we are going to cover today, it's our 3 lessons learned, and we're going to share some real-life examples which were delivered with Dell and Dell partners. However, we are not going to talk about math and their stuff like that. So we are going to stick to the business. So what is our 3 lessons? I'm not going to make a secret, and we're going from the first lesson. So AI and ML projects are best applied to the problems that you're well understood. But what does it mean? Well, so it means that you know precisely what you're going to predict or what you're going to improve, and how your process is operates in real life. However, the best AI projects which we were seeing so far was applied to automation, and their automation, it's old, I know, it's older than me for sure. And there are many well-known fields where automation applies well. I just remind you about the 3 major one, let's say. So the fields where time equals money. So if you need to operate something 24/7, it's probably a good opportunity to apply automation, because otherwise labor cost for people who working at night, it's a drama. Then if many people doing the typical job, and it does not require special skills. So it's a second great choice for automation. And the third, and it's not the complete list, of course, but it's processes which tend to change fast, but requires a certain training for your personnel. So it might be tricky to find, but there are still some. And the third lesson we learned that it's still high risk. However, you can think about that AI helps to bring to life our idea, and it's like a magic. And some people, especially from the business, they tend to think that AI easy to apply and it increased chance of winning of the result. However, it's not true. It's still a high risk, and you have to measure the bet versus potential outcome. So you definitely will spend some money, and outcome could be you win the business or you win their experience. So I'm not going to scare you, and just to avoid thinking that doing nothing is an option. I've given it back to Paul, and we discuss why it's not.
Thank you, Taya. The next 5 minutes are going to be really feedback from the analyst community. This is IDC, and as you see, about 400 customers were involved in looking at where the digital enterprise thrives, and within that, where artificial intelligence and machine learning is being used for the business purpose. And what's really interesting is you see at the very bottom a little green bubble saying number 6, new revenue generation. And often when customers want to talk about machine learning and artificial intelligence, they see new revenue as that's the big thing I want. But actually, where companies are really succeeding, where they're taking AI to improve their organization or make money and save money, it's by starting with the customer experience. And to Taya's point, often automating that so it becomes smoother. It becomes easier to do business with you as an organization. It becomes easier to register something in your government department. And because of that ease, reducing friction and improving the experience, you often find the business risk is being reduced. And as importantly, you see Gartner calling out here, and this is something at Dell Technologies, our own Chief Technology Office produced this chart based on the Gartner Core Magic Quadrant. But it's zooming in on that innovation section. What it's worth looking at is what is of huge strategic value to your organization, and very often generating revenue is of huge strategic value, but it is far more feasible to improve the process, to apply automation through machine learning and artificial intelligence that then impacts those key areas of your business. Now, to help explain that, we've got a couple of examples, and we're going to zoom in on these, but I want you to know there's links for videos for all of these, so we'll find a way to get these video links to you. Now, whether you see Duotex there, bottom in the middle, fantastic example of using technology to predict the maintenance on a train. And what you see there is the technology tunnel, and the train drives through it, and the scanners scan in real time. There's some other really clear examples there, Atlantis, the Palm there, zooming in on customer experience, and there's some sports examples there. But what I really want to zoom in on is self-driving vehicles. And it's probably not the self-driving vehicles that you're thinking of. Lots and lots of people put up beautiful pictures of cars driving through streets and little red and green squares appearing on objects. That is a neural network in process. My friends, you can see in front of your eyes what the computer is learning from. But actually, we've seen tremendous innovation from simply automating some of the functionality and features in something as common as a warehouse or a manufacturing plant. And Otto Motors that are actually based out of Canada. We could have given you a German example, but I like the Canadian example, where through really skilled AI and machines that have got a lot of sensors that learn how to interact not just with their environment, but the people that work in the environment. And in Canada, it's sometimes hard to hire people to work in the warehouse. They're hard to find. Sometimes the warehouse is, it's where it is because it's hard to get to. So having an additional fleet of self-driving cars or robots or vehicles seriously helps the business of warehousing and supply chain management become more efficient and actually improve safety in the warehouse. Customer experience improves, and suddenly you've got a self-driving vehicle helping your supply chain, de-risking your business, and improving the customer experience because picking becomes quicker and more efficient. And it's not just something as old-fashioned as warehousing and supply chain that benefits from AI. As Taya will talk you through, some of the oldest industries in the world are benefiting from this.
Yeah, it's another good use of good use of warehouse professional transformation to use data warehouses in any situation. So the warehouse, can you imagine their indoor farming? The size of the building is about a football field, and it's 11 meters high. And all of these are full of trays with green plants, and it requires 95% less water, and it's more efficient than the normal farming for 390 times. And it's real, and it's real because the artificial intelligence, because of edge, and because of IoT. So the Farm founder imagines a world there that we need less space and less water to grow food, and he started with a green plants, and implemented the system which allowed them to make this process much more efficient as we imagine today. But where is the innovation? And innovation is not so obvious here, because they just nicely assembled the things which were done since many years. And it was possible to recognize the vegetations of the plant with drones already several years. And it's possible to use measurement devices to measure how many water you give to the plant and how many nutritions. And people were doing it for tens of years. If you think that agriculture never worked with data and they dealing with grass and with tractors, no, they dealing with data every time. They were doing journaling in the paper. I went to agricultural conference several times, and I was really surprised how many data they collected. So nowadays they just put a bit of automation on that. So IoT helping them to collect the data instead of people or instead of robots. Then their edge computing helps them to analyze. And the cloud helped them to work with this tremendous amounts of data, and help them to train new models and then bring them back to the edge computing. So it's a complex system, and the AI is a critical part of that, but it's still a lot of different technologies involved. And I really love that example of doing things, because it really proves the first 3 points we were talking about. You should not invent something, you can closer look on the process. And as I mentioned several times, data warehouse and actionable insights are probably the buzzword you can imagine, but it's really the key is data, because at every moment of the process, you have to somehow collect the data, somehow to discover your actionable insights, if you like that word. Then you need somehow manage this data at scale, because if your business is growing, it generates more and more, and you should manage it somehow. And then you need to decide with data. So that's why we helped in previous use case with not only with consulting about IoT and the hybrid cloud, but also, of course, with key infrastructure you need for that purpose. Paul?
Well, of course, Dell Technologies are fairly well known for infrastructure. And you saw in the Aero Farms example, and we've been growing things in the world for many thousands of years, but you saw in the Aero Farms example, the farmer carrying a rugged laptop. That might be new to you. But to Taya's point, farming technology and agricultural technology is often further ahead than you think. So one of the advantages that Dell Technologies bring to you and the partnership and the ecosystem that we leverage is that experience with which type of infrastructure is required where, whether you need to do things at large scale. We look to our high performance compute experience. We look to how we built some of the cloud platforms that our own service partners then provide on to their customer base, their installed base, and how we layer that through networking, storage, servers, how you manage that huge element of data coming in as a stream, data coming in from a cloud as a stream, data needing to be stored and reanalyzed over time in a world where scale is one of the significant advantages of this. So talk to your account teams, talk to your Dell partners about the type of silicon, the type of platform, the type of storage, the type of cloud environment that is going to best suit the business problem that you're trying to solve. And there's a little bit more to it than that as we move into the last few minutes of this. Obviously, it's not just buying a box or buying a time in a cloud that we've helped assemble, or delivering a cloud experience to your installed base. It's about working with your Dell partners and our ecosystem. So whether we're looking at, you see in the middle of this, a customer solutions center, we can demonstrate one of those stores where you walk in with your basket, you've got your cell phone in your pocket, and you pick the things off the shelf and walk out the store. The payment is handled automatically. We know how to integrate those systems with the software partners and your integration partner. But come to a solutions center and we will demonstrate that and break down the steps of the process that you need. It's the same with the HPC and AI Innovation Lab, one of the world's largest supercomputers. It's 3,000 square meters of supercomputer. If you want to build a model in the cloud and work with the Google teams and some of the amazing software that Google build, and then come to the Innovation Lab and test at scale, we can help you with that, because the world you are going to work in will be a hybrid world. And that's why we have validated designs to help you choose what is the best way to help you and your installed customer base thrive, grow, and digitally transform. But there is always more to cover. And Taya will take us to the end of the keynote with, I think, the summary and the key messages.
And I want to remind the 3 things we learned, and we share it, and I hope we proved with examples, and the next speakers will dig in the details. So identify your business problem in the detail. How does it work? Bring everybody you know who relates to that problem. So IT, data scientists, machine learning specialists, your business experts, subject matter experts. If you deal with physics or math, bring those who knows those physics and math. So you need a diverse team, and diverse in the best meaning of that word, that you need a very different angles of you on your problem to make it solvable for the machine. And then think first about automation. As I mentioned, there are great examples just applying very well-known technologies like image recognition, voice recognition, video recognition. All that things exist out of the box, and you can apply them to automate some of the processes. And yeah, take the risk, but keep it moderated. There are a lot of companies who are implementing different researches in AI, and they given those models as a pre-trained or as a services. So you can use it in your commercial projects and benefit from their experience. And I just want to remind about the last number for today, and the number is 42. It's the ultimate answer to ultimate question of the life, universe, and everything. And it was already given. So don't ask machines the questions you don't really understand. Well, that's all from us.
Thank you very much, Paul. Thank you very much, Taya. Really impressive. Let me ask you something, Paul. So actually the artificial intelligence concept has been born somewhere in 1950, as far as I remember. Why it's, why it passed like 70 years in order to, bring this concept again? Why, what happened in between, and why only in the, last years we're speaking about the AI?
Great question. A lot of folks say, hang on, this isn't that new, surely. What's transformed in the last few years is the software that you need has become bundled and batched, and libraries, and we'll hear from Google, and I thank them for TensorFlow. Coding like Python, PyTorch have become simple but elegant to work with. and we have something approaching 25 million developers in the world, people who earn their living from development. It's no longer a small community. In the 70s, it was really small. Now we're at a point where a lot of folks, and of course the infrastructure that runs on, whether that's in the cloud or whether it's in your data center or whether it's in your farm, the power in that silicon is huge. You know, Moore's law still applies. If anything, as Taya keeps reminding me, Paul, it's getting quicker.
You mentioned, thank you very much. You mentioned at one point in time that, you know, you need some supercomputers, you know, in order to run artificial intelligence. Is that correct? So, in order to run complex model, do we need a very complicated or very powerful infrastructure?
Good question, but it's very depends on their what you're going to do. Because if you're going to go for image recognition or video recognition, and you're going to train those models, so you definitely need a lot of compute power. You need much less compute power if you're going to implement models which were trained somewhere else. And you need even less compute power if you're going to train simple models which are used in banking, for example, for credit scoring. Because where was the artificial intelligence you mentioned from the 80s, it was mostly based on mathematical statistics, and there it's somehow pure math, and it's more or less easier to compute. And if we talk about deep learning and the neural networks, it's something which is newer, and it requires dramatically more compute power to train and to use it. And if we go to the tasks which solved just for fun, because we have sport machine learning as well, they require even more, because people are fighting for small percentages of the quality and etc. And for that reason, they're trying to combine several neural networks in one, or tens of networks in the one, and it's require really supercomputers. But for a normal company, it usually does not apply. And yeah,
all right.
Paul agree with me.
Okay, so listen, I'm the last question I put, you know, my a hat of a businessman or of a CEO. I know that my company stays on a lot of data, you know, historic data. I got a problem perhaps on storing that data, but I have no idea how to extract value from that data. Yeah, but I heard that, you know, I came to see our council talks, and somebody told me about the AI. So how can I be convinced? What would be a short roadmap for an AI? Who can show me that I could extract value and I could generate value from the data, and I could generate an AI project that could really bring me some benefit, not only, you know, a chatbot or, you know, simple AI.
It's when we look at what IDC was saying and our Office of the CTO was saying, that the simple business question is, you know, what is the value it will bring me and the feasibility of doing it? Then have a workshop with, you know, with Dell, with Google, any one of the sponsors here, but be prepared to write down a list of what your business problems are. And then an honest workshop will go, that is a hard business problem to solve. That one has been solved already by aerofarms, by the Atlantis palm. Stand on the shoulders of giants. Best advice I can give. It's great being the world's first, way more profitable to be the world's number 2.
Thank you very much, Paul and Taya. Thank you very much again for bringing, you know, Dell vision about AI. Well, we will switch back to Romanian, but we will be waiting for you for another session with the Sierra Council Talks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.